Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you are, and thank you for joining us for our webinar, Integrating DevOps and ALM Tools to Speed Delivery. My name is Sarah Ryan, and I'm delighted to be the moderator for this webinar. Our presenter today is Adam Jones, as our Senior Solutions Engineer. He works with our prospective customers to gain a deep understanding of their environments and help them identify ways to derive maximum value from their integrations. So while at Tasktop, Adam has helped over 20 organizations, including 7 of the Fortune 100, to successfully undertake their large-scale Agile and DevOps transformations and enable them to boost productivity and collaboration and ultimately transform the way they build and deliver software. So without further ado, I will hand things over to Adam.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so we're going to talk about DevOps today, CI/CD tools, and we've seen a lot of work and mentioning about automation and how to really integrate continuous integration and continuous delivery tools. And we're going to see that today in action. But we're also going to talk about the larger software value stream, and Tasktop really exists to integrate your entire value stream all the way from CI/CD, which is kind of the end of things, to all the way back to the beginning, which might be requirements, definition, and management. And Tasktop is a single tool that can really handle all those things. But today our focus will be the automation of DevOps operations with the Tasktop Integration Hub. So the whole point of automation really is to eliminate wasted time. We really want to improve your workflow, cut a lot of steps out of your workflow, eliminate double entry, make it easier to have traceability so it's easier to run reports. You don't have to chase down 3 different reports from 3 different tools and munch them together. With Tasktop, you can get all that traceability in your single tool, preferably your source of truth. So we can really automate not only the workflow of managing work items, but also the traceability. So this shows you how artifacts can flow across the value stream with the Tasktop Integration Hub. We are going to be triggering the creation of defects in HPE Quality Center from both build failures and test run failures. The build failures will happen in Jenkins. The test run failures will happen with Selenium. And then we'll also show you how once we insert those failures as defects into HP, they can instantly propagate into JIRA as defects. So you have these failures, they create defects, so the testers are aware of them once they get into HP, and the developers are aware of them once they get into JIRA, and all that happens in a few seconds. So you have instant visibility across your value stream for all the different developers. And I think this is the end of our fancy animation here, but this is the analytics portion where we can, after we do all that, after we synchronize all that information for you, we can dump it all into a SQL warehouse, which allows you then to run reports using your favorite BI tool, something like Tableau or Power BI or Business Objects. Okay, with that, let's see everything in real time and in action. So this is the Tasktop Integration Hub, and this is a snapshot right now of the integrations we have configured and working. We're going to be focusing on the right end of the diagram here, where we've got defects are going to get pushed into what we call a gateway collection. But we're actually reading backwards here. We're going from left to right. We'll create this defect. Sorry, we're going from right to left. We're reading backwards. We're going to create a defect over on the right. It's going to push into HP and then instantly be available in JIRA as well. And this will just give you some more detail about what exactly we're dealing with as far as the synchronization setup and some even more detail. And again, this is not a modeling tool that you're looking at. This is actually what has been set up and what is running. So let's jump into HP. You'll see we've got one sample defect in there waiting for more, and we're going to go ahead and create a failed Selenium test run. So I have a Selenium test set up using a Ruby script. So the Ruby is calling the Selenium libraries, and we're going to go ahead and execute that right now. We're going to double click on this Ruby script. It's going to open up a browser. It's going to fail a test, and then it's going to push a defect into HP. So we go back into HP and refresh, and there you can see that defect is now created from Selenium. And Selenium's a really important use case because Selenium is not, it's just a library of scripts. It's not a tool that has a repository where you could synchronize anything back and forth. So with TaskTop, we have this capability to capture those events coming out of Selenium, even those events aren't stored anywhere in the Selenium setup because it's just a bunch of scripts. So that could be applied across a lot of different use cases in organizations, especially homegrown tools. So we're going to look now at another tool. We're going to look at Jenkins. So you can have the case where you might have a failed build, and depending on the severity, maybe you'd like to register a defect. So we're going to go ahead and kick off a build here in Selenium, and it's going to fail. There's our failure, 87. And just like the Selenium failure, we're going to have a new defect here in HP. And there it is, that build 87 failed. So we had these failed events. They've created defects in HP. Not only that, they've been pushed into JIRA as defects as well. So we can now refresh JIRA and see that we've got those 2 bugs here in JIRA. So now the developer is aware of them as well, and if they'd like, they can begin to work and rectify on those defects. And you can set this up so when the developer begins to work, they can go ahead and they can resolve the issue here, and that resolution can then be pushed into HP, and if we note, status is going to change here when I refresh. So now this is closed. And you might have this set to configured to be retest or something like that. But the point here is TaskTop is eliminating so many manual steps. There's no emails flying around. You don't have a lot of double entry where you're opening an email and then having to enter that data into, say, JIRA or HP. Once we capture that event from the DevOps tool like Selenium, it's injected into your value stream, and now it can be worked on and resolved all without any double entry. Another thing that's happening is while we're tracking all this, we're tracking all this information. We provide this this SQL connection that is every time a attribute is changed, we're recording it here in SQL. So we'll refresh here, and we can see that we've got these build failures in here. The Selenium test run is in here. We'll note that that original Jenkins failure, the status changed here in JIRA from to do to done. So TaskTop provides you this really rich, granular database of analytics information that you can run, you can use to create really detailed reports about your life cycle. So let's look and see how hard all this is to set up and configure. So our goal is to make that easy. We don't want the configuration to be hard. You could conceivably write your own scripts to do this, but we want to have a tool that you can just install, configure, not write any scripts, and be able to use. One of the reasons we do that and we exist is because, again, a lot of people can write scripts, but as tools update APIs, maintenance becomes an issue. So we stay abreast of all the API changes for these tools, and we make sure that the integrations are going to work regardless of upgrades. So let's drill deeper and to see what's going on here. So with this DevOps integration, excuse me as I log in here again. We have to have the ability to capture events from things like Selenium where they don't really have a database or a repository. So we can't really query anything on the Selenium side because there's nothing to query. It's just generating all these events. So what we do is we have something called a gateway collection, which is, as you'll see, a URL here. So this is a TaskTop Integration Hub URL, and we're listening on this URL for events. We're looking for posts that contain JSON data. And there are two ways to handle this JSON data. Either you format it, you can format it with your Selenium script in your Ruby HTTP library. You can format that JSON, and then we can just consume it as is and push it into HP, or we can just consume any type of JSON, and you can actually write a script, a JavaScript within TaskTop that will parse the JSON and pull out the fields that we need. So yeah, again, the heart of the configuration here is this URL that's listening for JSON, and once we receive a package, we parse it and then turn it into an HP defect. And we can see that here. So this defect gateway to HPE ALM, this is the integration where we're taking that URL listener, which is on the left, and we're pushing it into a defect collection for HP. And one aspect of TaskTop setup that's unique is that TaskTop is a model-based integration tool. And as far as I know, we're the only ones right now that are model-based. What does that mean? That means you define a generic defect schema model, and you map everything to that model. So the model is in the middle, and this means you're never writing direct point-to-point integrations. There's always an intermediary of the model. The reason we did that is it allows for fast scalability. As you expand to multiple projects, you can reuse that same model. So you can add 1, 2, 4, 20 projects to the same integration. And we used to be a point-to-point shop a couple of years ago, and we were so for about 5 or 6 years, but getting a lot of customer feedback, we've migrated and implemented this model-based integration, which is a lot more scalable and reduces a lot of configuration when setting things up. So right here, what we're looking at is the model in the middle. The center two columns are identical. That's our defect model. And on the right-hand and left-hand side is the schema for the particular integrations. Now, this is a defect schema, so we don't have a lot of detail on the far left column, but if we look at the JIRA integration for defects, it'll be clearer. So over here on the left, you've got your JIRA defect schema, and on the far right, on the far left, you've got your HP defect schema, and on the far right, you've got your JIRA defect schema. And in the middle two columns, you have your model. The application itself, the TaskTop Integration Hub, is a server. It's about a 300 megabyte package to install. It's totally self-contained, so you do not have to install any external applications in order for TaskTop to run. The installation takes about 10 minutes actually just to get the package installed and working and up on localhost or whatever server you intend to install it on. It's all Java-based, so it runs on Windows or Linux. You can tell it's completely web-based, so you can run it headless on a Linux environment. And you can scale to millions of artifacts on one instance of TaskTop, so hundreds of projects. It's designed to be very scalable. So that pretty much concludes the technical portion of the demo. Let's finish the slide deck here. Yep, this is just a review of the type of integrations we support. Synchronization, gateway, we saw both of those. Synchronization was between JIRA and HP. Gateway was that URL event listener, and then the data stream here. This was where we were consuming all the transactions and dumping them into a database for reporting. We talked about model-based integration. We do have the ability to track relationship. So you could have more traceability with the JIRA HP integration there. You could actually link requirements into those defects as well. And artifact routing, that allows us to push artifacts into particular projects based on field values. This is a smattering, a small sample of the tools that we can support. So we want to touch all the major aspects of the ALM world, software lifecycle world. So hopefully there's a couple of things on here that are appealing to you. And lastly, we've been doing this for a while. We have over 40 of the Fortune 100 as customers. That gives us a really rich history of best practices and understanding what really do you need for an enterprise scale integration, and that's something we can help you guys think through. And the thinking through part is probably where most of the work happens, whiteboarding and figuring out what's the best workflow for the different teams that you have involved. And then we want to make the software part anticlimactic and easy once you've decided on the best structure for your teams. And now, questions. Happy to answer.
Okay, great. Again, if you have any questions, type them into the chat box or the questions panel in the GoToWebinar interface. We had a couple come in. There was one that was, how many models can you have?
You can have as many models as you'd like. Here's our model definition area. So we ship with 8 models out of the box, which you can modify very easily, but you can also add new models easily. So theoretically, there's not really a limit to the number of models you can have.
Great. And this person said, I have many different systems. If I were to set up Tasktop, would I have to set them all up at once, or is it something that you can do piece by piece?
We recommend the piece-by-piece methodology, taking a small bite at first, demonstrating quick value to people at your organization, and then expanding from there. So that would be like integrating like your defect to tester alignment workflow really quickly. That's usually a very easy one, and then expanding beyond that.
Great, thank you. Well, I don't think there are any other questions that came in. Of course, if you have any that come up later, we'd be happy to answer them, and you can always find out more information about us on our website, www.tasktop.com. And of course, follow us on Twitter, all those things that you see on the screen. I think there is one more slide that I get to talk to, if you wouldn't mind. I wanted to make sure that everybody knew about our upcoming conference. That's Tasktop Connect. It's a one-day conference in Columbus, Ohio on October 4th. And we'll have a keynote from Tasktop advisor Gene Kim, the author of the Phoenix Project and the DevOps Handbook, as well as Tasktop customers like Nationwide, TIAA, and Kesson. And they'll share their successes and challenges from their Agile and DevOps transformations and provide actionable advice for you to achieve maximum collaboration, visibility, traceability, and just better software development and delivery flow. So also, you don't see it on the slide, so I'll just tell you there is an early bird price that is ending tomorrow. So if you register by tomorrow, you can save $100 on your registration. It should be a great event. We're keeping it pretty small, so there will be lots of opportunities for networking and kind of discussing what has been working in your organization and kind of trying to find ways to address those different challenges that you've faced and learn from those who've overcome them. So again, it's connect.tasktop.com. And I think that is it. So thank you everyone for joining, and thank you Adam for your presentation.
Thanks Sarah for setting this up.
Okay, have a great day everyone.